Hi guys, today we're going to talk about setting up a paper in MLA format for a literary analysis essay. The reason why I recorded this is so that you could go back and review and rewind and that sort of thing. And it just makes it easier to do this. So this is the end product. This is what it's going to look like. All right. It's a great looking essay here. And notice that it is got some weird name and teacher and class placement. Okay, so this is what MLA formatting looks like for an formal English paper, and actually any MLA paper for whatever subject that you write. Okay, so this is the end result. But if I just asked you to write something like this would be kind of hard. So what I have done is created an outline for you that if you fill everything out, your paper is going to end up looking like this. Okay, so hopefully you have in front of you at this point. Go ahead and get it out if you don't have this. Have this beside you as we go through this video, and you can pause it at any time and go back and say, what did you say there? I'm not real sure. I'm going to zoom in just a little here. There we go. Okay. All right, so the first thing that we want to do right here is take a look at how do we set up the paper. Well, your name goes right here, and it needs to be your first and last name. All right. Feel free to do that right now. Then over here, on the right-hand side, you're just going to put your last name. That goes right here, and it says last name 1. Well, that's weird, but that's how MLA papers are set up, and that signifies that that is you, the author's first page. If you had a second page, it would say, for example, my last name would say Graham 1, Graham 2, Graham 3, Graham 4, Graham 5 on all the pages. That way, when people are reading your essay, they know and they can be reminded of the author. Okay? All right, next thing we want to look at is right here. You always put the teacher's name there. Kind of important to spell that correctly too, by the way. All right, English 8. Also, take a look at this. Not only is it not December 2014, the way that this is set up seems a little bit strange, but this is the international way to write the date, where Americans are the only ones who actually write it differently. So let's cross that out, and I'm going to put today's date. Obviously put whatever date it is that you are writing this. Okay, so how this paper is set up is that the little hints are below, and they tell you what to do here. The key thing to remember too is that when you go to type it out, it needs to be in italics, okay? The title of the book. Let's say, for example, that you are, I'm reading a book called Station 11, so I would just put Station 11 analysis. All right, let's take a look at this next thing here. All right, very first sentence of the essay, and it's a hook, and you hopefully at this point have watched the video for the hook. Most of your high school teachers don't like you to start with a question, so I want to encourage you to try to start with dialogue. Action is always fun in the middle of the action. That's what you want to do here. So this is the hook, and this is where you're going to put that right there. It does not have to be a question, all right? Then we're going to put the title of the book again, the author, and what is the main conflict? All right? What is the main conflict? So, for example, I would say Station 11 by Emily Patel is a story about a post-apocalyptic world, or a dystopian world, okay, where a virus has killed off most of humanity. That's the main conflict in the book. All right, then we get here. So if you want, this would be a good place to pause and go ahead and do that. Try and figure out what your hook would be, and hopefully you'll choose action or one of the ones that you saw in the video besides a question. If you'd like to do a question, that's okay too. Just know that probably in high school that won't be allowed. All right, so then we get down to here, the protagonist. The book that I'm reading, Station 11, has so many protagonists, I don't even know where to start with that. So what I would do, and remember, protagonist is the main character, I'm going to start with this guy. His name is Clark. All right, I'm just going to pick my favorite character because there are too many protagonists. Okay, and then over here in this line, you're going to describe the main character and list 3 characters. And that's why there's a blank, comma, down here, a blank, comma, and that. What are they like? Are they courageous? Are they nervous? Are they funny? You know, and as you're doing a rough draft, it should look really ugly and scratched out. And say you put the word funny and you decided you wanted to go back later and fix it. Just go ahead and do that. Just don't stop your flow of thoughts because you think the word is too simple. Okay? All right, then we get to the next part. And it says, introduce any other characters or allies that are part of the character's life and describe how they interact with the protagonist. All right, so that's actually what this line is for and what these lines are for. So these 3 lines. In the book that I'm reading, it would be the fact that this guy, he's stuck in an airport for 20 years because that's where he is when humanity comes to this screeching halt. And I would talk about the characters that interact with him in that situation. Okay? Then we get down to the bottom part here. Describe what genre the novel is. For example, historical fiction, autobiography, or fantasy. If you're not sure, a great thing to do is just Google it. Go into Amazon.com, for example, or you could say what genre is, for example, The Thief Lord. What genre is Mockingjay? It will tell you. All right? So for me, the book that I'm reading, I would say that it's definitely dystopian fiction. All right? It is pretty depressing, I have to say. All right? So again, just to make ourselves sound smart, we're going to restate the question. The genre of Station 11 is dystopian fiction set in current day. All right? So not only have we described what genre is, we've also described the setting. A lot of times authors will not specifically say where the setting is because it might be anywhere USA. I always say, if you're not sure where it takes place, start to go crazy and say, is it in Asia? It is in Africa. No, it's somewhere in the United States, somewhere in the last 10, 20 years. So you would say present day. Okay? So this entire first page here becomes your introductory paragraph. All right? This is not one where you have a claim or a thesis. This is where you're analyzing literature. And this is where you're introducing what it is that you're going to be talking about. That is how you set up your introductory paragraph. So what I would do right now is go back and maybe rewind this and start and go line by line of what you're supposed to do with what I just said. Okay? All right, that's the introductory paragraph.